Hey guys, it's Chris Niccolls here from the camera store, and we're coming to you from the Wild Rose Motocross Park today. Now it's noisy, as you can hear, but it's also going to be a fantastic opportunity to test this brand new camera, the Sony A99. Now this is a very interesting camera, and it is a sneak peek because this is pre-production, but you've got a full frame 24 megapixel SLR, but it also has some very unique video properties as well. So let's take a look at the track, take a look at this camera and see what we get. Now the Sony A99 is an SLT model, so that does promise very quick focusing and very fast frame rates. But Sony's doing something a little bit different on the A99. You've got your standard 19-point phase detection off the mirror, and then you've got a full 102 points you can use when you go to the sensor. Now what that means is really quick shots like this. Now, I've been shooting on the track here, and I mean, this is a pre-production camera, but this thing has been very accurate and very fast. Very confident knowing that I'm going to get shots in focus. It's really done a great job. Now, of course, coupling that, you want a fast frame rate. Considering that this is 24 megapixel full frame, we're getting 6 frames per second, and that gives us really nice bursts like this. Now, if I really want to push it, I can go to 10 frames per second. It is with a crop factor, but if I really need those extra frames, I can do it. And in a situation like this, it's nice to have a little bit of extra range. All in all, a very, very fast camera, even though it is also a high resolution full frame. Now, a lot of camera brands like Canon and Nikon rely on the lens to provide some sort of focus limiting, which can be really handy when you want to keep the lens in a specific range. It means the camera doesn't have to bother with close-up distances. But the Sony goes a lot farther. Because this has this AF range button, now just by pushing this, I can basically set the parameters of distance. I could say, I want you to only try focusing from 4 meters to 6 meters. I can set my own range, and that really helps in a situation like this where I want to localize my focus and make sure it doesn't hunt in a different direction, like this. It gives us nice, accurate, quick focusing right in the range that we want it. It also gives us a distance allowance, so if we are using continuous autofocus, I know that the camera will start at my maximum range and won't exceed my minimum. It's a very cool feature and very easy to set up. All right, so we've been shooting all day. It's getting pretty hot out here. We've developed this fine layer of dust all over the A99, probably all over myself too. But it's okay because the A99 is fully weather sealed, no problems at all. It's got a nice beefy grip too, but what's interesting about this camera, it's only 730 grams. Now, that makes this basically the lightest full frame SLR on the market. It's really, really comfortable to hold. It doesn't weigh you down all day. Got a pretty standard 921,000 dot screen on the back here, but what is interesting now is Sony's gone away from just the vertical view. We can now do a full rotational view, which is really nice. I mean, a nice change for Sony to be able to do that. However, we're going to use the magnificent OLED viewfinder here. This thing is about 2,359,000 dots, and I have to say, looking through this viewfinder, you almost are fooled into thinking it's optical. It's that sharp. No lag whatsoever, really, really nice. Although I'm sure in low light, it's going to get pretty noisy still. By far, the best thing that Sony has done as far as handling on this camera is they have gotten rid of that hot shoe from Minolta days. That reverse shoe that nothing would fit on, you needed adapters you could never find, it's gone. We're back to a good old standard hot shoe, but with some interesting contacts here. We'll talk about what that can do in just a bit. Now the camera also has now a lot of nice functions like GPS adapters you can add on, and here we've got a mic input and we've got headphone jack out. Now that's gonna be great for video. Another thing that's great for video is this little controller here. I love this thing. You push this button, hold it down, and you can choose a whole bunch of functions. Then simply turn the wheel and select them. Now you might say, Chris, well, why would I need to do all that when I've got the standard function button on the back? Because this works great for changing things like drive and autofocus and ISO. Well, for video, this thing is silent. Now when it comes to video, the Sony Alpha A99 is probably the most full-featured SLR style camera on the market for video today. You can see my camera's grown a few bits here. We got this bracket coming out, but it gives us a nice handle, and more importantly, it lets us attach Sony's new XLR adapter. You know, it's gonna be about 800 bucks, you know, under 1,000. It's expensive, but it gives us high-end audio with all the controls that we would want, 2 ports, shotgun mic, all integrated into Sony's advanced hot shoe right through the camera. And it means no bulky beach tech afterwards or no syncing audio separately. As we've talked about, we got mic input as well on the side of the camera, and of course, very importantly, headphone out. That's a great addition to have too. Now, the camera is going to autofocus during video. I mean, it is an SLT, which is nice, but so far on this pre-production Sony Alpha A99, we only get 3.5 as an aperture while we're doing autofocus. And that's unfortunate because we also only get program mode, no manual. So I still see you folks spending a lot of time here manually focusing in manual mode. Still, that's fine. That's what we're used to. Great alpha lens mount. We got a lot of lenses we can throw on there for high-end video as well. You get a standard fare frame rate, 60 frames per second, 60 frames progressive if you want slow-mo, and of course we also have 24 frame progressive as well, so pretty standard fare there too. And with that big 24 megapixel chip, we can crop in digitally if we want, losslessly as well. Excellent for sports and action like this, where we need just a little bit more reach. All in all, very exciting for a video camera. You know, in the last few months, Sony as a company and their camera division have been wowing us. I mean, they've been on fire and they've been competing amazingly with the big players. I mean, right now you're looking at me on an FS700. That's quickly become our favorite video camera. The RX100 with that 1-inch chip blew me away for image quality. And the Alpha 99 has proven itself to be a really nice handling camera for quick action in sports, as well as, of course, with 24 megapixels, any sort of field work or landscape work you want to do. You know, the Alpha 99 is trying to hit right into that very, very important market, D800, 5D Mark III, but at a price point which is comparable or less than those other cameras. And this thing delivers. The autofocus has been fantastic. And image quality, I know, I mean, we're looking at JPEGs here in the video today. It's pre-production, so we can't really force it too much. But if any of their other cameras are any indication, this is going to deliver beautiful image quality. The JPEGs we've seen have been fantastic. I'm confident you're going to like the images out of this camera. And the video mode. No other camera on the market goes as far into video as this one does in its market. I mean, I love the headphone jack. I love the XLR inputs. That's an amazing addition. And HDMI 2 with 422 output. So this camera's got it all. Fast, quick, nice image quality, great videos. I like the burnt orange on the lens mount. That's sexy. And the best part, no more damn Minolta hot shoe. So I would say, folks, in the coming months, look out for this camera. It could very well be the camera you want in the large full-frame market.
Hey guys, it's Jordan, the video guy from the camera store. And I've been wondering for the longest time, when are we going to see a full-frame mirrorless camera that is not made by Leica? Well, the day has finally arrived, and it is not at all what I was expecting. This is the full-frame Sony VG900 camcorder. Now it's got the same 24 megapixel chip of the A99 we just looked at. It's a very interesting design. Let's take a look at this. Okay, so you're probably thinking, well, this is an NEX camera. None of those lenses are full frame. How's that going to work? Well, Sony's actually come up with a really clever solution. So what you have included with the camera is the new LA-EA3 adapter. Now that'll adapt it to Minolta lenses, but covering the full frame of this new sensor. So that means I can put on any of my Sony A-mount lenses, Minolta full frame lenses, pop them on there. They're going to work great on this. The other nice thing is, any full frame lenses out there, I can grab a Nikon adapter for it, pop it on. I can use Leica M lenses, use them in full frame. It's a wonderful way for you to get that full frame look with a huge variety of lenses. So aside from the full frame sensor, they've made a few other major upgrades to the other VG cams. I love this. We now have all of our exposure modes right on the body, quick access to them right by the wheel you'll be using to adjust them. It's a much smarter place than the previous one. They've also added a zoom rocker. So with some of the new power zoom lenses coming out, Sony just announced an 18-200 with a power zoom, you'll be able to control it with this rocker. But even if you don't have one of those power zoom lenses, this will digitally crop and maintain 1080p capture, so I can use that to just get a nice smooth zoom when I need that creatively. And the biggest one for me is they finally dumped that ridiculous Minolta backwards shoe. They've gone over to this one here, and this gives me the option to add that XLR attachment, just like the A99. So I get great XLR audio inputs. I don't have to do a separate sound sync. It's a bunch of upgrades that were sorely needed. One thing I do have to mention though is there's clearly a neutral density filter shortage at Sony because they brought out another camera without an ND filter. So I have to add my faders again. It's the FS100 NX-70 debacle, just keeps on going. But, you know, that's not that much hassle. So Sony's carried over a lot of features from the VG20. We get 24p capture, 60i, 60p if you want to shoot slow motion. They've kept all that consistent. We get autofocus with NEX lenses with the adapter. We get autofocus with alpha lenses as well, as long as they've got a built-in motor. That carries right over. But the big thing for me is we get the nice ergonomics of the video cameras. We got a viewfinder here, the flip out screen, and that huge, huge sensor. When your friend comes over to you, says, hey, I was just shooting with a Red or an Arri Alexa, you can say, well, my little VG900 has a much bigger sensor.